morning, students. Today we are going to learn about unit number 1, part C, and let us see what is there in it. So we need to learn about the fundamentals of building materials, in which we are going to study about stones, bricks, mortars, planes, reinforced and precast concrete, construction chemicals, structural steel, high tensile steel, carbon composites, plastics in construction, 3D printing, recycling of construction and demolition waste. See dear students, there are lot many construction materials, building materials are there, but uh, we are going to study which are mainly used nowadays to build a modern building. So next we are going to study about the first building material, which is known as stones. So see, stone is a natural occurring material of construction and is obtained from rocks by quarrying, that is by excavating, heating, wedging and blasting. See, stone is a rock, and when it is from the parent rock, then there is no disintegration by weathering effect. So for obtaining good stones, we have to use these four types of excavating and constructing techniques, which are known as excavating, heating, wedging and blasting. So you can see first figure is dressed students. Dressed stones means the stones which are placed in a typical fashion. Okay, they are known as dressed stones. You can see layer by layer, one layer after another layer, the stones are placed, and these are known as dressed stones. Second, if you can see, these are undressed stones. The stones of irregular shape are placed as per their shape and size. So these are known as your undressed stones. Next is your bricks. So bricks is a rectangular block of regular shape obtained by molding a mixture of clay and sand and generally burned at high temperature. The earth for good bricks should contain clay or alumina 20 to 30%, sand or silica 35 to 50%, silt 20 to 35% by weight. It should withstand high temperature without deformation. It should be free from pebbles, stones, gravels, grit, alkaline salts, lumps of lime, vegetables and organic matter. So you are aware of the red brick. So red brick is made up of the clayey soil. In Nagpur we are having a black cotton soil. So mixing all these contains the red brick is made. In the molds this proportion is added and kept for overnight, and then after air drying those are burned at high temperature and the red bricks are formed. So what is the regular shape of the brick? If you can see, it is 190 mm stretcher face, 90 mm header face and 90 mm height. If you can see, there is one frog deep inside to hold it and carry it. So its dimension length is 100 mm and 40 mm is width and 10 mm is the deep to hold the brick. Next is your mortar. So mortar are usually named according to the binding material used in their preparation. They are essentially required for masonry work, plastering and pointing to bind together the bricks or stones properly so as to provide strength to the structure, to form a homogeneous mass of the structure so as to resist all the loads coming over it without disintegration. Students, stones, bricks, and mortar are the basic materials used in the building construction. Alright, so mortar plays an important role as a binding material for holding stones and bricks together. So they are made up of 1% of cement and 3% of sand with the water cement ratio, and those are used for plastering, connecting each other, pointings. So these are used for binding stones as well as bricks together. So composition of mortar. Modern mortars are typically made from a mixture of sand, a binder such as cement or lime, and water. So you can see that there the mixture is of 3 parts of sand, as I told you, 1 part of cement, and 3/4 part of water. So you have to mix it well to form a mortar as given in the photograph. Plain reinforced and precast concrete. The intimate mixture of cement, sand, coarse aggregate, jelly, and water is known as plain cement concrete. So when you mix all these aggregates, coarse aggregates जिसे हम गिट्टी बोलते हैं, फिर sand होता है, cement, और उसे water के साथ, water cement ratio के साथ अगर हम mix कर देते हैं तो that forms a plain cement concrete. Now uses of plain cement concrete are listed below. As bed concrete below the wall footings, column footings, and on walls below beams. As sill concrete to get a hard and even surface at window and ventilator sills. As coping concrete over the parapet and compound walls for flagging the area around the buildings, for making pavements, for making tennis courts, basketball courts, etc. So these are the 6 uses where this plain cement concrete are used. So this is how the mixture is made and poured. So this is near about flooring. This is your poured concrete. This is for flooring, and this is for preparing the PVC pipes to carry the water, other inflammable and flammable fluids from one place to another. So reinforced concrete. Reinforcement is provided in the concrete wherever tensile stress is expected. The best reinforcing material is steel, since its tensile strength is high and bond between steel and concrete is good. The composite material of steel and concrete, now called RCC, acts as a structural member and can resist tensile as well as compressive forces effectively. Nowadays in construction we are using the frame structure. Frame structure means column, beam, slabs. So this structure is built with the use of steel material. So wherever there is a compressive force and tensile force, we are using this steel there. So uses of RCC. So RCC is used for footing, columns, beam, lintels, chhajjas, roof slabs, and stairs. RCC is used for the construction of storage structures like water tanks, dams, silos, bunkers. They are used for the construction of bridges, retaining walls, docks and harbors, underwater structures. RCC is used for building tall buildings like multi-storied buildings, chimneys and towers. RCC is used for paving highways, city roads and airports. So RCC is nowadays is used in lot many areas. Everywhere we have to use this reinforced concrete structure. So if you can see the figure, this is the column which is built by RCC concrete. This is the steel which is built reinforcement, that is called as reinforcement, and this is a concrete which is combined, and this is known as your composite material. Next is your precast concrete. Let us see what is precast concrete. In precast concrete elements, calculated compressive stresses are introduced in the zone wherever tensile stresses are expected when the element is put to use. Thus, in bridge girders, bottom side of beam tensile stresses develop when deck slab is placed and vehicles start moving on the bridge. Hence, before girder is placed in its position, compressive stresses are introduced at the bottom side. This is achieved by pulling the high tensile wires before concrete is poured in the formwork of beam and releasing the pull only after concrete hardens. Pre-tensioned, pre-stressed concrete. In this method, another method, it may be achieved by providing a duct from end to end in the beam while casting the beam. Then high tensile wire is passed through the duct, and after stretching it is anchored to the ends of the beam. This is called post-tensioning pre-stressed beam. Pre-stressed concrete is commonly used in making the following structural elements. Let us consider further pre-stress and post precast and post tensioning. Okay, so pre-stress means there are girders in you. If you have seen the flyovers, you have seen the big beams from one column to another, so those are known as piers. When we when we construct a bridge, the vertical members are known as piers, and the horizontal members on that are known as your girders. They are nearly 30 to 40-meter long. So those are prepared before it is brought on the site. So 100 meters of these girders are prepared, and the tensioning rods are passed from the machine, and then the concreting is done, and they are again covered with the tarpaulin sheet, and the steam curing is done by the big boilers. The steam curing is done, and after that these are brought to the sites. So this is how this precast concreting is done. So these are built in beams and girders, slabs and grid floors, pipes and tanks, poles, piles, sleepers and pavements, shell and folded plate roofs. So all these are the 5 types of uses where the precast concrete is used. So these are your precast girders, and this is how the post tensioning and pre tensioning done. If you can see, these are built and kept on the site, and those are then transported, and this is how these are made. These are the girders which are made by passing these post tensioning rods. Then construction chemicals, one is cement technology, another is concrete technology, third is waterproofing, fourth is concrete repairs, next is grouts and mortars, then surface treatment and industrial flooring and adhesives. Next is your first, you can see the concrete technology. Those are used for water reducing admixtures, waterproofing admixtures, accelerating, retarding admixtures are there. Then short concreting admixtures are there, corrosion inhibiting admixtures, special purpose admixtures that antifreeze, pumping, aid lightweight concrete, air and training admixtures, durability enhancer admixtures. So all these admixtures are used for these different types of construction techniques. Then if you are doing waterproofing, then which chemicals are used are cementitious polymer coatings, integral waterproofing, polymer modified bituminous coating, crystalline waterproofing system, elastomeric coatings, water repellent coatings, injection systems, and polyurethane coatings. So these are the waterproofing admixtures which are used for different construction techniques. Next is your concrete repair. So concrete repairs are done for cementitious repair system, epoxy repair systems, polymeric repair system, crack bridging, crack injection resins, and corrosion concrete. So these are the admixtures which are used for concrete repairs. Now here grouts and mortars. When you are using grouts and mortars, so these are cement based high precision grouts, epoxy based grouts, grout admixture, mortar additive and concrete, ready to use mortar, anchors for grouts and mortars. So all these are mortars and grouts used admixtures. Next is your surface treatment, curing compounds, mold release agents, cleaning agents, rust removal, protective coating, and epoxy coatings. Next is your adhesives, concrete bonding agent, tile adhesive, epoxy tile grouts. Joint sealants are building sealants and pavement sealants. So all these are your adhesives and joint sealants. Industrial flooring, acrylic floor sealer cum curing membrane, floor hardeners, epoxy flooring, polymer modified cementitious flooring, and primer. So these are industrial flooring materials. Next is your structural steel. Kindly read this. The structural steel is steel construction material, a profile formed with a specific shape or cross section and certain standards of chemical composition and mechanical properties. Structural steel members such as I-beams have high second moments of area which allow them to be very stiff in respect to their cross-sectional area. So these are your structural steels, W shape, next is your S shape, C shape. So all these are known as your structural steels. So like this in photograph you can see these are the steels which are used. Next is your high tensile steel. High tensile steel bars are made with 0.8% carbon and 0.6% manganese, apart from small percentages of silicon, sulfur, and phosphorus. The process of making these wires involve cold drawing and tempering. They are usually available in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mm diameters. They may be bundled with number of them to form a strand. These bars are having high tensile strength as high as 1400 to 1900 Newton per mm square. The Young's modulus of steels is also same as that of the mild steel. So these are the high tensile steels. The figure shows the number of bars which are used With respect to this, there are the grades of steel: Fe 250, Fe 415, Fe 500. So number associated with the designated indicates the tensile strength of bar in Newton per mm square. So dear students, if you can see the first figure, these are the rings which are formed. Nowadays we are using the HYSD bars Fe 500 and 415. So these steels are 8 mm maximum we are using starting, and these are the bars from 8 mm to 25 to 30 mm. And for construction nowadays we are using Fe 500. Next is your carbon composites. What is a composite? So first is, a composite is when two or more different materials are combined together to create a superior and unique material. When two materials are mixed together, or two or more materials are mixed together, those are known as your composite materials. So here carbon composite means composite matrix plus fiber filler. So properties of composites are high strength to weight ratio, lightweight, fire resistance, electrical properties, chemical and weathering resistance, color, design flexibility, low thermal conductivity, and manufacturing economy. All these are the properties of a good composite material. So carbon composites are also known as fiber reinforced carbon composites, amorphous carbon matrix composite, carbon matrix reinforced by graphitic carbon fibers, first developed in 1958 but not intensively researched until the space shuttle program. So this was used when the space shuttle was designed first by NASA, and then these carbon composites were used extensively. So you can see that this is the structure of your composite carbon composite material. So vertical is having very weak bond, and horizontally, if you can see, they are having a strong bond. In general, carbon fiber are produced in three processing stages: stabilization, carbonization, and graphitization. So this is the first part, second part, and third part. What are the applications? So these are your applications. Those are used in decks. Those were used in Toronto boardwalk, playground, mighty Mount Rushmore, that is a bridge. So these are the applications where this carbon composites are used. So sliding and soffit products, marina where the decks are there, then pools. If you can see, for small composite materials are used. So plastics in construction. So what is the plastics? Plastic in a synthetic material made from a wide range of organic polymers such as polythene, polyethylene, PVC, nylon, etc., that can be molded into shape while soft and then set into a rigid or slightly elastic form. So you can see that first organic polymers are added with carbon, then oxygen, then nitrogen, and then sulfur, and then the plastic is formed. So this is the composition of plastic. So organic polymers may include chalk, starch, ivory, dust, wood, flour, and zinc oxide. So these are your applications of the material. You can see, for making the wooden cabinet, then wires, then pipes, then lighting materials, tiles, and laminated materials. So you can see bath and sink units, electric insulating and conduits, lighting fixtures, decorative laminates and wall tiles. So again, applications are water tanks, roof lights, safety glass, and corrugated sheets and roof panels. Next is your 3D printing, computer controlled sequential layering of material to create three-dimensional 3D shapes. Nowadays we are using lot many softwares for designing purpose and for designing the structural detailing and others. We are using the help of 3D printing. So 3D printing is a form of additive manufacturing in which components are fabricated in an additive fashion by adding successive layers of material together. So how this 3D printing is done? So first is your CAD 3D modeling. In AutoCAD is one of the software by it is used by the civil engineers, mechanical and electrical engineers, but the use of AutoCAD is done by civil engineers more. So CAD means AutoCAD drawing. In 3D modeling is done. Then STL file is transferred. Slicing application is done. Then layers of slices and tool parts. When layer after layer the drawing is made. Then it is gone to the 3D printing and then the object is formed. So this is the flow chart of the 3D printing. So applications, assembly of components, printed components, if you can see. So this is the assembly of printed slab. Okay, by using the computers and all, you can just model it and then execute it. So you can see the assembly of wall with slab is done when you are doing the execution work with respect to the printing slab drawing. Then again contour crafting, material is poured layer by layer. Whole process is taking place on site, allowed to create large component with unlimited architectural flexibility. So first you can see first structure printed in situ. So on the site itself this construction was done with the help of computer graphics. And the next part is recycling of construction of demolishing waste. Definition of construction and demolishing waste. Waste materials that is produced in the process of construction, renovation or demolishing of structures. Structures including buildings of all types, both residential and non-residential, as well as roads and bridges. Components of C&D debris typically include concrete, asphalt, wood, metal, gypsum, wallboard and roofing. So dear students, when we are having a site there, the construction is actually there and years together, then old construction we need to demolish, and when we demolish we all get one material which is known as demolishing waste materials. So to dispose it and again to reuse it while doing its recycling is the process of construction and demolishing waste. So demolishing sites and restoration schemes are large amounts of solid waste. Recycling of concrete and other building material is difficult and uneconomical. As you know that students, concrete is made with the help of cement, water and aggregates, and in aggregates we are using fine and coarse aggregates such as sand and gitti. So those coarse aggregates when they are mixed and cement is used and water is mixed thoroughly, then the concrete is formed. So by demolishing this concrete compound we cannot uh, just make all the members material away. That is, we cannot take out the cement, we cannot take out the sand and aggregates. With respect to this it is difficult. So it is possible to reuse most of the building materials and components. As the volume of demolishing waste is huge, allowing the waste to be crushed, processed and reused as aggregate in building works. The recycling of construction materials like concrete, timber, glass and steel is primarily an attempt to reduce the cost of production of new materials and construction, and also reduce the consumption of natural resources. So next you can see what is C&D waste. So this is the renovation 40%, demolishing 50% and new construction 10%. So applications, what does C&D waste consist of? These are consist of concrete, brick, timber, sanitary ware, glass, steel and plastics. Where are the applications? Landfills, then they are again recycle. So these are all regarding about the C part of unit number 1. There is only last part, D part, we are seeing in the next class. So for today, this is only the things we are discussed. So thank you very much for today, students. Stay safe, stay healthy.